So today we are going to talk about the folder structure of Angular, and we talk about few more things as well. Okay. Suresh Gatta. Okay. So the point here is, you see, this is my Angular folder. When you build a package, let's see, I remove this pack, all the packages will be get deleted. Or you got my point. See, while creating the project, you won't get this folder. Yesterday I told you, right? Say yes or no. Yesterday I told you, whenever I build the project, this Angular cache version will becomes in that all your build packages will becomes here. Am I right or wrong? Say
Yes,
yes
sir.
or no. And you
Yes, sir.
see, there is an index.pack. There is an index.pack old. The new version of any change happen, a new pack will be created. That pack will be executed and downloaded in the browser. I got my point. So you are not going to worry about that. It will be automatically taken care. The next one is version code, VS Code versions. For example, you want to launch an extension, or you want to launch anything. If you launch the browser, what is the commands we need to have? You see here, there is a ng7 command. It has been launched as a request, and npm start is the task we created. So like that, all the configurations will be added by default. And the last one is task. You see, this is the task. All the bulletin configurations are, everything will be available. But we are not going to worry about much. This will automatically taken care. But you need to understand what is there in this. Now, the main thing, this is the one. Yeah, node underscore module. Why do we need a node underscore module? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me what is the purpose of node underscore module?
To store the libraries.
Yesterday, I spoke about that. Can you please speak, unmute and talk? What is the purpose of node underscore module? Can anyone tell me? What is the purpose of node underscore modules file folder
Like
in
we are using
Angular?
namespace. Namespace.
Hmm?
Store the libraries. Yeah, in .NET we are using namespaces, right? Like that here also we're using node modules.
Exactly correct. Will. Similar to your .NET, you will have a namespaces, right? Predefined namespaces, right? In .NET, you will have import using system, import using system.data, import using
Yes, sir.
system.data.asp core, something like that. We are importing the namespaces, right? Those namespaces are predefined or user defined. Who is creating
Predefined.
those namespaces?
Ready. It
It
is
has
user
been
defined.
predefined, provided by the .NET framework. Similar fashion, node underscore modules or module, node underscore modules will contain a predefined packages. Understand my point? What it is containing? Predefined packages. Ishwar, Ravi, Punjabi, Tarak, Yogananda, Sushma, everybody unmute and talk and tell me what you guys are needed. Okay. So what are all the packages I can expect? I can expect Angular slash forms is one of the package. Okay. And Angular slash router is another package. Like that, 400 to 500 plus packages are available in this module. Clear my point? Now you see here, when you come down, you'll get all the one which I talked. All these packages will hold everything. Clear my point? So this is called node module. If you are trying to install any on top of this anything, I'm going to do today. You will listen that. So this is based on this module. Angular project will be, structure will be, this is the place, SRC, the place where you are going to write all your code. Clear my point? It is similar to your ASP.NET code architecture diagram. It is similar to your ASP.NET Core architecture diagram. If you guys are familiar with ASP.NET Core architecture diagram, it is very well easy to understand Angular architecture diagram as well. How many of you doesn't know ASP.NET Core architecture diagram, which we already completed, right? Tell me how many of you doesn't have our ASP.NET architecture diagram? Will everybody know ASP.NET architecture diagram?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
I
sir.
want answer from everyone.
Yes, sir.
I want answer from everyone. Only few people are answering.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
seeing 11 people. Everybody unmute and talk. Okay. So this is the place where you create a module. Or you got my point? And this is the first thing. To start any project, what is the entry point? Let's briefly discuss about SRC folder. To start any program, what is your entry point?
Main method, program.cs.
Main method, right? In Angular also, we had main.ts file. This is the entry point of Angular.
Okay.
Get my point? Now you see here, you see main.ts file. Under the SRC, you are having a main.ts file. Say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
This main.ts is as a bootstrap module. Can anyone read the sentence here? What is this?
Creates an instance of ng module for a given platform.
Creates an instance for an ng module for a given platform. What does it mean is, whenever browser makes a request, it will first comes to your bootstrap module. This is the method will get executed. Clear my point? This module will internally call an app.module. I will show you that module. Don't worry about it. So whenever user makes a request, the first call will happen is from where? First call will happen.
Main.ts.
The first call, first code get executed is main.ts file contains bootstrap module code. Am I right or wrong? Bootstrap module function. Clear my point? Everybody clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Everybody. Say, I want you to familiar with Angular as much as possible. Clear my point? So that is the main intention. Now the point here is, whenever you make a bootstrap module function, this function internally call a module. Internally, what it is calling? App module file. Where this app module file is, this file will call from here. You see app.module.ts file?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Say yes or no? You see a ng module file?
Yes.
You see ng module file or not? Say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Or you got my point? So what this bootstrap is doing? This bootstrap is internally
Calling app.module.
calling a ng module class. Clear my point? Which class it is calling? ng module
module.
class by creating instance on its own. Creating instance on its own. Why I'm saying a creating instance on its own? Because this is a class. This is a class. Is it a class or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir. It's class.
It's a class. It is not a normal method. It is a class. So the point here is ng module will be always ng module class. Okay. This is decoration. I'll tell you what is decorator and all. Okay. So ng module class. In ng module, now what is ng module? ng module is a decorator to define a module in which components are get loaded dynamically. Components are get loaded dynamically. Understand my point? So whenever user makes a request, the request first will comes to where? Main.ts file. That main file internally calls an app module. Okay, what is app module? App module is the ng module class. Now, here in the ng module, you see there are 4 properties. How many properties you have?
4 properties.
4 properties. Now tell me what are all those properties? ng module contain 4 properties. Number 1 is declaration property. Number 2nd is imports property. Number 3rd is services property. Number 4th is bootstrap property. Clear my point? So how many properties we have?
4.
If you declare any ng module class, you will have 4 properties. Clear my point? So declaration means registering a component. Any component. I'll tell you what is component. Don't worry about it. I will explain today itself what is component. Registering a component. Okay. Now in the import, registering a module. Import, registering a module. It can be user-defined module. It can be predefined module. Registering a module can be of 2 types. What is that? Predefined or user-defined. Services I will explain later point of time. You assume that there is a service. What is bootstrap? Which component will be activated as a first component? Or you got my point? Which component will be activated as a first component? First component. Let me prove you. See, this bootstrap I will prove you now. Now what I'm going to do, how to run the project? Terminal
ng sir.
ng serve open. Now what will happen? My project will be binded and then it will serve in the browser. Now you got the project? Say yes or no?
Yes, sir.
You got the UI. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create another component. Listen carefully. Here, I want to create another component. What is the component is ng g c home. Okay. And you can also see this app folder. Under app folder, there is a home folder will be automatically created. Or you got my point? And now come
Yes, sir.
back here. Whenever you make a component, you see the declaration home component will be added default. Now you see, if I entered,
Yes, please.
see how many files created in the home component?
4 files.
Component.html, component.spec.ts file,
Okay.
component.ts file,
PS file.
module file, and it is also made an update in the module file. What update has been made in the module file? Let's see.
Importing components in.
Whenever you create a component, that component will be automatically imported in your module file. First step. And then once that file has been imported, home component will be added in the declaration by default. You are not adding. It is automatically adding or not.
Yes, automatically adds.
So you are giving a signal to the module. In my project, I'm adding a new component. Now coming back here, which component you are making as a bootstrap?
Yes, sir.
Which
App
component we are
component.
making as a? Now I'm going to change here home component. What will be happen if I change into home component? Instead of loading the app component.ts, it will load the home component is your startup project. Now you see here, the startup project is gone or not?
Yes,
Say
sir.
yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Everybody,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
clear my point? It went everything. Now, if you come back and change app component, now it will come to the reset. See, you got the app component.
Yes.
So now you all
Yes, sir.
understand what is the bootstrap property in ng module.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. After running, which component we need to set as a default? That's what we can make.
After running, which component need to be set as a
Default.
default? Now, if you are using here home component, but still in the UI, you won't see the data. It is an empty. Why? Because if you go to the home component, TS file, you see there is a component decorator, right?
Yes.
Say sir.
Yes, sir.
In the component decorator, you have three properties. What are all those properties?
Selector, template URL,
Selector, template URL, style
style
URL.
URL.
Or you got my point? So to make this component active in the UI, you need to use this selector as a tag. To
Okay.
identify a component in your browser, you need to use selector. Where you will go and use that selector? You see there is an index.html.
Correct.
Here you have to say app.home. Now you see home works.
Yes.
Home works or not?
Yes, sir.
Before, if you are not add this selector as a tag, will the home works?
No.
No. Not
Why?
yet.
You are telling
Using that
this
one,
HTML saying that please add home component is your startup. Sir, where this app-root, sir? Now, if you go to the app component.ts, you see app-root selector.
yes.
Everybody,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
how you are Conforming the UI, which selector need to be loaded. So there are two things are tightly coupled. One is through module, you are injecting your bootstrap component, saying that app component. Or you got my point? And
Yes,
then
sir.
in the HTML of app component, index HTML, you are bootstrapping the root component. If you are not having if you are not having this information in two places, this UI will not render. Now you see, I am removing the app root. Listen carefully. Save. I am removing the app root. Am I able to see the HTML of app component.html here?
No.
No.
Everybody,
Mm.
guys, please unmute. Please unmute.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No.
No, right? So to make component works, what are all the steps you need to do? To make component work, what steps you need to first define? To make component work, we
Yeah.
need to define two steps. Step one. What is our step one? Can anyone tell me what is our step one?
App.module
Declare a
bootstrap.
component. Declare a component in the ng module. You got my point? First, you need to
Yes,
declare
sir.
the module in the ng component or not.
Yes, sir.
If you are not declaring a component here, will the component will work?
No.
No. First point.
No.
Second point,
Input.
if it is required to become a startup component, what we need to do? We need to register the component as register component in bootstrap property in a ng module class. That is the second thing. This is not mandatory. If required, you can do. Third point. Add selector in the component selector. Sorry, add component containing selector property. Am I right or wrong? This is a property.
Yes.
Property in the
App component.
.html file as a tag.
Tag.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
So how many steps we are making to work your component?
3 steps, sir.
Everybody?
3 steps.
3 steps. That's all. Now you all understand? Now, what is component? What is component? Can anyone tell me? What is component?
Combination of HTML and TS5.
No.
Forget about combination of HTML and all those things. Generally, what is component?
It is a block dynamically rendered.
Okay. Anything else?
Which has some business logic. When we try to request the time, it will render to some responses.
Okay.
Component, it can be a part or no.
Mhm.
Component to render the browser.
Component is used to render the browser. Okay. That is also somewhat good. Anything else? Guess. Think. Feel free to talk.
Sir, a component is Angular is the building block of the application.
Forget about building block and all those things. Just talk only about component. First step,
Like
can I
template
say,
class.
listen, can I say component is a class? Will you all
Correct.
agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's a class.
Okay. I can say it is a individual functional block.
In application level. Yes, sir.
I can say this is a individual functional block, right?
Yes, sir.
It will work independently, right?
Correct.
Say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And fourth point, component contain 3 files. Component contain 3 files. What are those files?
HTML, TS,
HTML,
CSS.
.ts file, where you will
Okay.
write logic. .html file, where you will define user interface tag, where you will use a HTML tags for designing user interface, tag for designing user interface. Do you all agree with these points?
Yes, sir.
So
.scss, it is a style sheet. Why do we need a style sheet?
For CSS.
For CSS, for applying the tags.
Design.
Okay. So whenever you create a component, you will get these 3 files. Now you see here in the home component, I got an HTML,
Yes, sir.
I got a SCS file, I got a TS file.
Yes, sir.
Forget about the spec.ts. It is a test file. I don't want to do it. I remove it. I have only 3 files are important. What are the 3 files? HTML, CSS, and home. Now go here. I'm trying to say H1. Welcome to home. What I'm saying, welcome to home. Now you go back to your browser. It is not coming. Why? Because this component is not registered anywhere. Home component. Now what I'm going to do, in the app component HTML, I'm going to register one more div. I say here app -home. Now you go and see, you got the home component?
Yes,
Say yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Now, can I say my app component is the parent component, home component is a child component? Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Everybody say,
yes, sir.
my app component is the parent component under which I'm registering my home component. Now, the app component is a child component of index.html. Am I right?
Correct.
This is how the structure is. HTML flow will happen like this. You have index.html.
Hello, sir.
Clear my point? You have
Hello, sir.
index.html. And then, yes, who's that?
Yoganand, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, it looks similar to the ASP.NET. So, why do we have to make use of this Angular when we have the same features in ASP.NET?
It is similar to ASP.NET MVC core architecture only. Point number 1. Point number 2. ASP.NET is a server-side application or a client-side application?
Server side.
Now, anything you want to build a Java-based application framework, Will you run or execute in client side or server side? Why do we
Java
need a Java-based application? Why do we need a JavaScript?
okay, JavaScript is a client side application.
Client side.
Yeah.
If I build a eStore project using ASP.NET Core, there is a flickering will happen or not?
Uh, so in order to increase that only, we are
Okay.
using a
I'll come
bootstrap,
back to
right?
you. I will show you one thing. Probably you will understand. You will get a more clarity. Let me explain. I will do. 1 second. See, this is your page. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Yoganand.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And you will have a home. You will have home here. You will have label,
Mm-hmm.
home structure, and everything. And you will
Mm-hmm.
have footer in a page,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you will have a menu, side menu.
Mm-hmm.
Clear my point? And
Yes.
here you will have the actual content where you are loading
Yes.
all the products and images, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say yes or no.
Yes. Yes.
And you will have menus here. Menu 1, menu 2, menu 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you
Yes.
click on a menu 1 saying that home, this portion I need to be updated. Whenever I click on contact, this portion has to be updated. And whenever I
Mm-hmm.
click on about, this portion need to be updated. Am I right? Say yes or no.
Correct. Correct.
But
Yes.
if you use ASP.NET MVC core, the entire page will be get reloaded or only the portion will get reloaded.
So that is the reason we are getting microservices.
Forget about microservices. Generally, you talk about
Okay.
ASP.NET
Generally,
MVC core UI. Don't talk about
in that
microservice.
case,
You build this in
entire
ASP.NET
page.
MVC core. Will the entire request will go to server, process comes back. Am I right?
Correct.
There is a
So the
postback
entire page
happening
should
for
be
the
reloaded.
every request.
Yes.
Am I right or wrong?
Yes, sir.
Sir, if we use partial views, it won't go
Whatever
for
partial
post.
views, Ravi, it will go.
Yeah.
Partial view, where it will be processed, in server or in client?
In server.
Obviously, there is a postback. See, you are clicking a URL or button click something here. This
Right.
postback will happen to server or not?
Yeah, at the menu,
Yes.
it will go to the action URL and it will call the partial view pages.
Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Correct.
Where you will define this partial view? In a server or client browser?
Server.
So there is a
Server.
postback happening for the click event, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I am clicking a button. Anjali, correct me if I'm wrong. Ranjit, you three, Sushma, Tarak, everybody, can you unmute and think in this way? You guys are having a website. In that website, you will have left menu, home, about, and everything. Clear my
Yes.
point? The moment you
Yes.
click on home, that home will go to server or it will be processed in the client browser. Assume you are developed using ASP.NET, be it to be a core or Java, whatever it may be. The entire every request will be processed only in the server. In which server? Web server. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
sir.
all agree with this point?
For every request, page load will also execute, right?
Absolutely. Every time there is a page load, every time there is a page life cycle will be fired. Forget about page life cycle. First of all, the request is going to server or not?
It will go to server only, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It is going to the server. Now my question here is, I don't want to make the request to the server. For that,
Client.
I am using Angular because Angular will execute in the browser, not in the server. Yoganand, you understand?
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Now you understand why people are going to Angular instead of .NET Core. I don't want to see any flickering. For example, in my browser, let's take irctc.com. irctc.com. It is taking time to load.
Yes, it is very slow actually.
Yes, sir.
It is a typical Java-based application, JSP servlet application. Any request will be take time to process. See, there is a flicker, right? Now, if you click on CSRC policy, it is see you see there is a flickering is happening. You just go through this CSR community. There is a flickering happening or not? Say yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Page loading is happening.
Every time there is a page refresh happen. Now, if you go to Swiggy portal, first time, see how fast it has happened. How fast it has happened. Now, in the Swiggy, you go and search a delivery location as Hyderabad. Okay. Will my headers changed? Will the header had a flicker? Yoganand?
No.
But my portion of the background is automatically get updated or not? I'm searching or I'm going for offers. Nothing will change. The flickering, it's not at all happening. Now, will you be interested to go this model or will you be interested to view like a IRCTC model? Which one is best? End user
Swiggy is
standpoint.
best.
Come again? Yoganand?
Swiggy.
Swiggy, sir.
Swiggy. Why we are saying Swiggy means Swiggy was built using React or Angular.
Okay.
Or you got my point? Everything will be treated as a component. Every functionality will be defined as a component. Clear? Yoganand, you understand now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
So, if you developed a project in Python, if you developed a project in Java, if you developed a project in UI in ASP.NET, every time request will go to server, process it, and send the response back. Clear my point? Clear my point?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Whereas in Angular or React, it will automatically download the file in the browser. From there, the actual business logic will get executed. Or you got my point? See, I deployed the Angular project in web server. When I use a URL from here, it will automatically download all the files. You see here, right click, inspect, go to network. When you refresh, you see there is a local host. It is calling the HTML. But if you look into the source, all the important files are get downloaded automatically. Clear my point? Because all are JavaScript files. Clear my point? Say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Whereas in ASP.NET, it will not happen. Now, if you put a breakpoint here, when you refresh, which guy is iterated first?
Route.
Route module. Now it is running. See, I'm removing here. Go to take app module. I say declaration. Okay, now I am refreshing. Now you see forms module is get invoked. Say yes or no. And then when you debug, it is going a forms module. It is calling a bootstrap module. Finally, it is calling a app module as well. You're calling an app module or not? You see here, app module is calling or not?
Oh, yes, sir.
Everybody, Yoganand,
Yes, sir.
you see app module is calling. And then title is entered. And it is calling it is doing everything. Finally, it is calling the home module. Once it has been done, UI is rendering line by line and coming back. So where this entire processing happen, in the client browser or in the server?
No, it's client browser also.
Client browser.
The client browser. So that is why people are preferring Angular or React. You understand?
Yes, sir.
And one more thing, UI will be rendered. It will wait for the data till it gets from the server. So that flickering will not happen. User will be more friendly. That is why people are using Angular as a platform. Any questions, Ranjit?
No, sir.
You understand the point?
Yes.
You guys need to understand why I am building .NET, why I am building Angular, what is the purpose behind people are using Angular. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yoganand?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please.
Like for UI related all things, we using Angular more UI purpose. For the like database, when we using Angular, so what we use? Actually, I'm not understanding. Suppose if there is a one project and I decided I will use Angular for like UI and all, then for the database storing, what approach will be good for that?
I can go for an API. I'm going to build an API. It could be a .NET API, or it can be a Java API, it can be a Python API, or it can be any other APIs.
Okay, the base ways
So
are going for
API, basically API, what will happen? It will talk to the database. Server-side code will be there, right?
okay.
That API you are calling through your Angular.
Okay, understand.
Clear my point? See, as a front end, I'm showing my UI. This is how it is actually. Let me finish. Yoganand, you understand this point? Then I can go to that other point.
Yes, sir. Got it.
See, the point here is I'll show you one more architectural diagram. You will get a clarity. Listen, you have a web server. Anjali, you have a web server, right? What are all the things the web server will be contained architecturally? It has a database, right? Say yes or no?
Yes.
Will it has a database?
Yes.
And then you are building an API. Anjali?
Yes.
Now, these two are server-side processing or client-side processing?
It's server side.
Server side process.
Server side.
Server-side processing. Now, assume I have a browser with Angular project has been loaded. This is your Angular project. Now, I want data for this Angular UI. This Angular will make call to API. API will talk to database, return the data back to the Angular saying that this is my JSON format. Clear my point? So the data is coming in a format of
JSON.
JSON. From whom? From API.
Sorry. Sorry. Yeah.
Don't say here it is a service. Say it is an API.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Or you got my point? So the UI will automatically render. It will wait for the data. Based on the data, you are going to render the UI. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Gata Suresh,
Yeah, very clear, sir.
Anjali, Yoganand.
Yes, sir.
Typically, this is how the
Understand.
architecture has been done. Sushma,
Yes, sir.
Sushma, you understand?
I understood.
Okay, Jafar,
Yes, sir. I
clear?
understand. Yeah.
Ranjit,
Good.
Yes, sir. Clear.
you all understand the point, right? Anybody have any questions? Now
No, sir.
coming back to our logical point, final point I can finish. So a component is a functional piece, independent block. It will work independently. To invoke component, to execute component, what we will do? To execute a component, we need to register in two places. What are all those places? Number one, ng module. You have to register or not? So I think I
Yes, sir.
already made that statement. You see here, this is the
Yes,
statement. I'm taking this statement, I'm cutting here, I'm bringing that statement as my fifth statement. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
Now you all understand typically what is component? Everybody?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
You all understand what is
Sir.
component?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Done.
Yes,
Yes. Sushma, tell me. So this is how Angular will work. So whenever you make a request, the request will first go to where? Where it will go to request? I want you to give an answer. Where it will go to request?
main.ts.
Main.ts.
Bootstrap
It will
module.
internally call a bootstrap
App
module.
module,
App module. In that app module, you will have four things. What are all those things?
declaration,
Service,
both and pro.
declaration,
Declaration, service, bootstrap,
properties.
providers.
Bootstrap providers, yes.
All those are ng module properties. Or you got my point? And that app component will have three things. What are all those? Selector, template URL, style URL. How many files you will have?
Three
HTML,
files.
CSS, TS file.
TS file.
In the TS file, you are writing the logic. In the HTML, you are designing the UI. You all agree?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Clear my point?
Yes.
That's all. Tomorrow,
Where we are calling the index.html from
again?
main.ts.
Atangala. Correct?
Index.html అక్కడి నుంచి కాల్ చేస్తాం సార్.
Index.html is this boot. It will not call automatically. See, whenever you make a URL, this HTML file will be automatically loaded in the UI. Okay?
అంటే main.ts నుంచి కాల్ చేస్తారు అక్కడ.
Yes, it is calling. ఆ కనెక్షన్ ఒకటి ఎక్కడ చెప్పట్లేదు ఇది. How they are dynamically calling the index.html, that connection is not happening. But everything will come to the, finally it will come and sit here only.
I think this is the default HTML file while project is building up.
Yes.
That's what we can register it. See.
It is a default HTML. Any project, everything will be come here and load here only. Clear?
Based on your select registration, it will load that component. But
yes, you are right. Anybody have any questions?
Sir, why we are ignoring that spec file, sir? We need to write coverage for that one also, correct?
Come again?
Spec files as of now we are ignoring, correct? Is that any coverage for later on? Mira the cover sir spec file?
No, it is not required. Okay. Nobody will use in the real time. They are giving for testing, unit testing purpose.
Unit testing only. We need to coverage that everything, correct?
But nobody in UI people will use unit testing. Nowadays, people doesn't have time to do all those things.
And nowadays, git file is something they are using automatically to return. But
yes,
somewhat we are writing that code.
Okay, we'll do that. Don't worry. If required, we will do it in
Just
future.
basic you can. That's no.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Tomorrow we are going to talk about how to passing data from parent to child and child to parent. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
See, now you know in the parent component, I am having a child component has been declared, right?
Yes, sir.
Now what I want to do, if I enter data into enter username, click on submit, that data should come here as welcome to Narendrababu. How can I pass my parent component data to child component? How can I pass my child component data to parent component? We'll discuss that tomorrow. Clear my point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ranjit.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
bye, sir.
Ranjit,
Yeah, sir.
please call me. We'll discuss few things.
Okay.